Global Business Network, and we help Black businesses export their goods, services, anything at all that is exportable across the world. Specifically, we have interest in the continent of Africa.
We help businesses export their goods.
So generally what we do is we try our best to help you as a business, or we help Black businesses in general to understand the different markets, international markets, global markets, that they can export their goods and services to. And we maximize the government, by the government I mean the US government, and see how we can know the policies that best favors us as Black businesses, and how best we can have these policies work in our favor. All right. So, but in this case, we're going to be focusing on something quite different, known as the um, responsibility of, you know, Africans in the diaspora, or Black people in other parts of the world, to the continent of Africa, and how your business can benefit from this, before we have the conversation where you give us feedback. So when we started the year, by the year I mean 2025 as a whole, we had asked a couple of questions to the businesses that we currently work with last year, inquiring on what are the biggest issues businesses face in, you know, in their generally in their line of work. Why are they not having sales? What is wrong? What is, could anything be faulty? And one conversation kept on happening consistently. People kept telling us that they have issues with hiring the right set of talent. And one of their biggest concerns was how exactly can they hire cheap talent, or affordable, not cheap in this case, affordable talents that would still perform optimally, especially for small businesses, because as small businesses, they do not have the capital to invest that much on human power, or on human resources, that's people that they can work with. And we were wondering, since we focus majorly on helping businesses export, and aside from exporting, we want to see you as a Black business, spread your reach within the continent, or generally within the US market. And the one thing that we could think of is, if we're able to get you talent at a very affordable rate, or get you talent or people that could do the work that you currently do as a CEO, running your marketing by yourself, trying to do
Whoa, what
every
happened?
other. I think there's an echo. I don't know if you can hear me.
You're good.
Okay, thank you. So that's the main reason why we came about the Hire Africa campaign. The Hire Africa campaign is a campaign we're running to help businesses hire very affordable African talent. And today our conversation is going to be on how do we tackle Africa's brain drain? How do we, as US businesses, or how would US businesses benefit from the African market, and positively also impact their business. So, first is one thing we need to know is that this is the role of the African government to the African citizens. First, they have to improve the local jobs, increase revenue and education and skill development, and of course, policy incentives. But all of these are not currently happening. And what this means is that there is a gap in the market. And if there is a gap in the market, then there is an opportunity for businesses as well. It means that there are a lot of people that can be hired, but they do not have the opportunities and jobs available for them. So the labor could be cheaper, way cheaper than it would typically be. That's one. Secondly, there is no influx of revenue. So it means that if typically you could hire someone in the US for a very, very, very maybe let's say 20, let's say you could hire someone for $20 per hour. You could hire someone in the continent for $5 per hour, or $8 per hour, to do same amount of task that you would typically give to someone else. Why? Because the cost of living in this part of the world could be less cheaper than the cost of living in the part of the world where you want to hire from. And of course, policy incentives as well. So this is beneficial, or this is the current state. However, we can see it as an opportunity. And one question we also asked ourselves is, would the foreign government have a responsibility to end this kind of situations within the continent, right? And the truth is, well, I don't really think so. We did not really think so. Melissa, in this case, did not really think so. So we tried to look at the different regions of the African continent as a whole, based on the African Union classification, and we saw that there is a division to which the African Union has divided the continent. There is the North, there's the West, there is the Central Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, but there is a group of people known as Africans in the diaspora. And we were wondering, how do we serve these Africans in the diaspora, or not just Africans in the diaspora, but Black people in the diaspora that are in need of skills and talents that are affordable? How do we make or utilize the what the African government or what the African economy can add to these businesses in order to help you expand, in order to help you export, and also in order to help you even help, have your business growing way faster. So that was how we came about Hire Africa, because we could see that if we reverse migration, reverse the number of people traveling to other countries for the sole purpose, especially to Europe, for the sole purpose of, seeking for greener pastures or trying to move out of their home country, if we give these people jobs, they will do your work much, much more better than typically you would have had it done. Why? Because they have more commitment to it. They need the money. They need, the that it's to them it's full time, 100% full time. It's a lot of responsibility that they take into these activities. So we thought that the first thing we needed to do was to provide these jobs for these people, and also to have them committed to doing it. That's reverse migration. Then we thought of partnerships and collaboration. So we started working with different units and bodies. First, we looked at the in the US currently, how many people currently in the US are looking to have footprints in other parts of the world, especially within Africa. So, for example, I'm currently in Rwanda, but I'm Nigerian, and I'm in Rwanda. I'm representing Black and Global Business Network in Rwanda. If Rwanda needs to physically be present, or if Black and Global needs to be physically present in any unit, or has a business transaction or deal or anything at all to do here in Rwanda, they don't need to send somebody from the US to physically come and do it in the continent. I can have meetings and conversations for them. I can anything that has to do with partnership and collaboration, contract opportunities within the continent, I can manage the conversation on behalf of the company, right? So there was, and we saw the possibility for an increase in partnership and collaboration between these young African talents in the continent and Black people in the diaspora that are looking to have footprints in this place. And then, of course, education and skill transfer. So a typical example is the programs that we run. So we have monthly webinars, and we have our summit. So for our next summit, which is going to be happening in 2 months, we have programs designed to benefit young African professionals. What this means is that these people can come and directly meet with you as a US executive officer, a CEO, a CTO, a business owner who understands how to run businesses over time, and you're willing to transfer skills to these people, or you're willing to have younger set of people to work with you so that you keep building on the legacy of your company, or you want to have expansions in this part of the world. It's education and skill transfer. It's also an opportunity to have that done. And that's something else, or how we think this could be done. And we don't think that any Black person, whether the person is of African descent or not, should have to move back to Africa to be able to give back to the continent, or in order to give back to people that are of the African descent as well. We do think that there is possibility to give back to young people across the world, African or not, without moving back. And that's why we designed what we call Diaspora Impact Blueprint. And the idea behind this is, with this, we can understand, or Black businesses in the United States can understand, how exactly they can hire young Africans in the continent to be able to spread their tentacles in the continent, to be able to set up their business in the continent, to be able to have footprints in the continent as well, like Melissa would normally say, to be able to have people that are serving as representatives in the continent as well.
Hi, Case.
Hi, good evening. So sorry. I was have to switch computers at the last minute. So how is
Welcome.
everyone? It's nice to see everyone.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll wrap up and then let Case wrap up the end, continue with the conversation. So the Diaspora Blueprint is one of those, and we're doing this through different approaches and through different ways. First is the Higher Africa campaign, which I had talked about earlier. The Higher Africa campaign is focused on helping young African professionals as well, and Black businesses to meet each other. So we're trying to see how can Black businesses generally across the world be able to tap into talents, to tap into partners as well, not just talent in this case. How are you able to find people that you can collaborate with, work with across the continent? So with Higher Africa, we're looking at people that can work for you and at a very, very, very affordable rate. That's one. Then the Global Growth Partners, for this one, we're focusing majorly on the people you can collaborate with. Maybe they have direct connections with the governments, or they have direct connections with people, contracts within the continent. There are people you can have conversations with, and you can work together as a group. But then we vet these people to make sure that you're not in the mix of any business transaction that is not legal or is not well vetted. Then we have the Black and Global Summit. Like I rightly mentioned, we're going to be having our summit much later this year. That's in like 2 months. And this summit is focused on helping you meet this kind of people that I had mentioned. First, people that you can hire, and secondly, people that you can work together with. And I think this piece is the most important one, which is the Black and Global podcast series. For the podcast series, we're going to be having a monthly podcast series where we're going to be featuring Black businesses. So if you have ideas, if you have conversation that you'd like to have on our podcast, we would want you to please indicate interest. Let us know. You can send an email to us at Black and Global Business Network. We'll drop the links after this conversation, and we can have a conversation on the podcast, and the podcast will go live on our YouTube podcast. And yeah, so having said that, we have partnership, a lot of strategic partnerships with a lot of people, but I'll let Case take over right now and, handle the rest of the conversation.
All right. Thank you so much. I didn't know if anyone had any questions, though, from what you were discussing. Do you want to check that first? Does anyone have any questions from Miracle? No? Okay. And Miracle, do you have the presentation again? Sorry, I had to switch computers. If you wouldn't mind putting that up, that would be great. Thank you. Because I'm going to be speaking on the initiative, the Higher Africa Initiative. And I think everybody's been hearing about it for the last little while. I see some familiar faces, but I would like to sort of go into it deeper. And I'd love to hear your questions, especially about what it really means to be doing business in Africa now, what Africa really looks like, not what they show you on TV, what it looks like for business people, what it looks like for entrepreneurs, and what the opportunities are. And again, the real opportunities, because I think there are a lot. And it's
Your
more
car-
even. Oh, go ahead.
Plus hundreds more. I got a check engine light and a huge bill to fix it. Endurance covered it
I
fully.
think, is that Joe? I think you're, yes. Okay. You're right. I didn't know if you had a question, but it sounds like you were talking to someone else. Okay. All right. So, but I'll start by saying what we're looking at is the newer opportunities in the global world. And one of them, as you expand your business, is going to be, where's your talent going to come from? And I know a lot of people are building businesses as legacy businesses for their family and their kids and their community, which of course is fantastic and absolutely desired by everyone. But when you're also looking at where can you find talent? And if you're just looking in general for talent, you're looking for new people and new opportunities, maybe that talent is in Africa and you just didn't think to look there before, or you didn't know how you could tap into the resources that are there. So we're going to talk about that and talk about how you can actually be part of the building of the great African economy, which is booming in every direction. And if you go sort of deeper into YouTube, sort of ignore mainstream media and go out onto YouTube and see what's really going on in Africa. Look at news reports from African countries and documentaries, and you'll see that there is a lot going on that just doesn't get reported here in any way. Okay, so I saw so Miracle, are you able? I saw the presentation was coming up, but I don't see it anymore on my end. Were you able to?
Okay, I'm going to pull it up now. The same presentation here.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you wouldn't mind controlling that for me, and I'll let you know when we're going from slide to slide. Okay. Well, let me start. Does everyone know when we talk about Africa, and I know a lot of people just say Africa is one word. Do you know how many countries we're talking about? You could put that in the chat. How many different countries are we talking about when we talk about doing business in Africa? No guesses? Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30? Any guesses? No? 50 plus? Absolutely. 53 is very close. Almost 60 is very close. Yes, exactly. 57, and depending, some people look at some of the smaller offshore islands as part of Africa as well. So yeah, we're talking about a lot of different countries, and we're even talking about more cultures. As you know, the borders of Africa were drawn by Europeans in colonial times. So they the borders just well, they're basically drawn around resources. And so that means that different ethnic groups are cut off from each other. They're in different countries now. Or it means that they're in the same country when they were not traditionally part of the same, say, ethnic family. But there are literally hundreds of different ethnic groups, languages. So they're in countries, of 50 plus countries that are the nation states of Africa. But when it comes to dealing and working with the people at a ground level, it's a lot more. And it's incredible diversity. But as business people, of course, you're looking at what does a continent need? I think somebody else doesn't, your phone is not muted. Okay, please mute your phones. Thank you. So what does it mean today as a business person? Well, one of the things that has happened to Africa, of course, is the issues of development. And that's been going on for a very long time. Ever since the end of colonialism, as each country has tried to become a modern country, a lot of countries invested in their education, which is natural, built universities, colleges, and so on. But then they didn't have the economic structure to keep people in those countries. So people went looking for new opportunities. And that became part of the brain drain. Now, that brain drain of Africans live all over the world, but mostly in Europe and the Americas, and in terms of where they went when they were looking for work. So what we're looking at now is tapping into that brain drain, and the emphasis on brains, educated people, people with knowledge, people with skills. You want to tap into that skill and use them as part of your plan to build your business, but building it on a global scale with African talent. So next slide, please. So you take a look at, Black and Global, we always talk about using government resources and working with governments. And African governments are very much working very hard on their development. Many of them are. They want to have local jobs. They want to have more money in education and skills. And they're developing the policies and incentives to bring people there to do that. And this is an area, when you look at it, there's a lot going on in the news about trade and everything, but a lot of it is focused on big companies and big products and physical goods. But if you were actually to take a look at what's really needed, it's services. And I know a lot of you are in services, and it's skills and it's knowledge transfer. And this is to help build up local communities and make sure that they have the talent. So if you're looking for people for your business, you can look at people from both ends, as employers and as employees and as customers. So next slide. Now, you think about how much the rest of the world has benefited from Africa's brain drain. And they think about the investment that the African nations made in education and skill development, only to lose people to the rest of the world. Now, some people would argue, well, those local governments should have created more incentives for people to stay and should have been more democratic or more free or something like that to help develop their countries. And maybe that's partly true. But at the same time, the people that came from other countries could be paid less in Europe and in the United States and Canada and Australia and so on. They could be paid less. So it kept our costs down by hiring talent from abroad. And there's no incentive to foreign countries to change that pattern. It works for them to have people coming into their countries who are completely just as well skilled as locally developed talent, but they don't have to pay them as much. So think about how that you can help now be part of turning that around by making it possible for skilled African professionals to stay in their countries, but to work at the highest levels of international business, to work for you in your companies and to work for other big companies or small companies, but being able to do things that are really important to them in terms of developing their skills. So it can be, excuse me, you can be part of helping reverse migration by giving Africans an opportunity to work in Africa, but through your companies. You can have partnerships and collaboration as a very dynamic business leaders in Africa that you could be partnering with to help professionals to stay in Africa and work and grow their businesses there. And then there's the education and skill transfer. This is the most important part, providing people with the tools and the resources that will help them grow. Excuse me. Next slide, please. Okay, so how do you participate? How do you help the diaspora? And I think maybe Miracle was just talking about this, but this is the part of where you come in, where you're looking to grow the talent for your business. You can look to Africa first. Now, the diaspora is all over the world, and you can look at the different regions. I just mentioned how many countries are there, how many different ethnic groups, how many different languages. But people do speak about Africa in terms of regions, the North, West, Central, East, and South. But when you're actually looking at where you're going to find talent, pretty much now there are countries that are moving very quickly in every region of the continent. So you're really looking everywhere where you can find great talent. Next slide. Okay, so these are Black-owned businesses in the diaspora of Africans all over the world, helping to reverse the brain drain out of Africa by working with African professionals who want to stay on the continent. So that's what Hire Africa is all about. is when you think about expanding your work and growing your business, and especially when you start out as a sole proprietor and you're doing everything yourself, as you start to earn income, you will start looking at, okay, what can I be outsourcing? And it's at that point, if you're not thinking about growing the business within your own family or community, and you're just looking for great talent out there in the world, that's the point where you start looking at the African talent. And it could be for your marketing, your accounting, your operations. It could be any part of your business, but it frees you up as you start to outsource. And one of the things that, of course, is happening now is AI. AI is everywhere, artificial intelligence. And I don't know how many people have checked out the tools that are available, but this is another way that people are freeing up more time for themselves is by using AI tools. Now, think about, you might be thinking, well, when am I going to have the time to learn how to use these tools? Well, you know who's learning how to use these tools? Young Africans, really, because it's allowing people in the developing world to jump ahead. Because these technology tools, for example, for coding, for writing, for marketing materials, the technology tools of all of the different AI apps are available right now just for everyone to use. So you might be thinking, okay, I want to do that, but I don't have time to teach myself or teach the AI app how to create content for my business. Well, that might be a job then for a young African who is working in that field, looking at AI tools all the time and can help you set up efficiencies using AI. So it might not just be your more traditional business activities that you want to outsource to other people, like your marketing or your accounting. It might be new ways of running your business, which you haven't even thought of yet because you haven't had time to check out how AI could support you. And you train AI models to support literally proprietary operations, the way you like to function, to write in your voice, all of that. Oh, okay. So you're training the AI models to actually do your business for you in many different ways. And so if you are looking for maybe something you haven't thought of yet, if you're thinking starting now to think that maybe it's time to figure out how AI can support your business, maybe there's a young African professional who will take the time, who's hustling out there as a freelancer or a consultant, who is learning the AI tools, and that could be a job for them, along with the other traditional jobs that you start to outsource as you grow your business. Then you want to think about partners. Who are the businesses on the continent that would be good partners for you? And where would you find them? And how can you work with them? And does it make sense? And again, this could be part of your growth, your expansion. A lot of people, you can double the size of their business overnight by getting into a great partnership with a complementary business. So when you're thinking about that, maybe think about businesses in Africa that would be good partners for you. And then, of course, we have Black and Global, always supporting Black businesses in the diaspora through the summit and the podcast series, which Miracle talked about. So the more important idea is, of course, to think about, where am I getting resources as I grow my business? And because you don't see Africa every day in the news, you might forget that they're out there, that 1 billion people that are growing their countries, training young professionals, learning the new skills. You might forget that, hey, there's an opportunity, a big talent pool that I should be looking at. Okay, next slide. So Black and Global has a strategic partnership with Hire Africa and the Hire Africa campaign. I'm sure you've heard about it, hiring young African professionals to work with you in the growth of your business, and to think about the different ways that you can partner with African professionals to actually have an opportunity to help them stay home, as well as to help you grow globally. Okay, so next slide. And what's the impact? Well, we're looking at matching African talent to you, 10,000 African professionals with 10,000 Black-owned enterprises, and training and educating African students, and actually empowering a whole new generation and the generations to come. Now, I wonder how many of you are thinking, well, I'm going to guess that many of you think this is a great idea, we want to do that, but at the same time, and you can hold two thoughts in your head at the same time, you are trying to grow your business. You do want to use maybe local Black talent. You do want to make sure that it's easy for you to do the work in the sense that doesn't it get complicated working with people in other countries, any country? Aren't there time zone issues? Aren't there payment issues? How do you know things are getting done on time? How do you know it's going to work? Well, one of the ways that you address all of those concerns is through an organization like Hire Africa and a strategic plan like the one that Black and Global has, because that's what we're looking at and actually making sure that those concerns are addressed. We want to make it something that is possible for you, something that is not to be feared. And when you think about global growth all over the world, it's those entrepreneurs that take a little risk and push the fear out of the way. Those are the ones who are able to move forward and actually grow their businesses in ways that other people are not able to, because they're not pursuing talent in the same way and not taking advantage of the opportunities to work with people in the same way that you can through a program like Hire Africa. Okay, next slide. Okay, so what we're talking about, hiring African talent to grow your businesses, empowering the continent. As the continent grows, that becomes a marketplace. Well, it is already a marketplace of a billion people. And again, if you look outside of mainstream US news, you will find and see just how exciting it is in so many of the countries where they are developing so rapidly. And that's a consumer marketplace just like you, looking for great products and great services from great entrepreneurs who are tailoring their products and services to the local market. So people who are paying a little more attention, not just trying to stick, something that works in the US into an African country that could be 100 different cultures, but actually working through and with African professionals who will help you navigate locally so that you can put your products and services out there into those markets. So it's more about being part of the future of Africa, but also being more aware as an entrepreneur, as a global entrepreneur, being more aware of what those opportunities are and connecting with people in other places so that you can work with them and grow your businesses. You grow your business, they grow their talents and knowledge, and probably eventually their own businesses as well. Okay, I think that's the last slide. So questions? Nobody, any questions about, well, in general, questions about the Hire Africa or doing business in Africa or where we are today? I know I haven't had a chance to talk to so many of you now on where we stand with free trade, and trade is one of the biggest topics in the economy every day, but and what's happening in terms of how that's all being supported for our businesses and for exporters. Questions?
I have a question about vetting, making sure that the talent has been vetted from a security standpoint. You're bringing another individual into your company, and how do we know that they've been vetted, that there are no background issues or potential for, you're on another continent and you've got someone working for you, there's going to be a need for a great deal of trust, if you will.
Yeah, and that's a great question. So there's two. First of all, there's just the straightforward vetting that comes from experience, the experience of that person. So that person having the reviews and the references that you can literally go to and ask how that person did. But there's also, if you're not sure, you start small. So you start with a small project and see how that goes and see how they deliver on that. Because sometimes you'll have to test the people directly because again, with AI and all these different things, people can sort of create their own credentials and it's very quick and easy to do that. So they can create a resume for themselves and look better than they are. But also, I think the organization, they're looking at that too, and they're vetting talent, looking at what people are really doing, what they're really saying, checking out their websites, making sure that asking the right questions, that they're the ones who can do the work. So it's a combination of literal background check type activities, as well as just testing people in the open marketplace and say, okay, if you can do this, let's see you do a small project and see how you can deliver on it. But it does remain, and also we always encourage you, obviously, to use the most secure financial transactions platforms. You don't want to get into situations where they're saying put up all the money and I'll deliver for you later. So you do have to be careful about that, following what they really say and making sure that you're comfortable with the approach that they want to use in business. And then you do want to actually, if it sounds like it's not if it sounds too good to be true, or if it sounds like it's really not a viable business or a business person, then of course you just want to walk away.
Hi,
Thank
Kate,
you.
it's Teresa.
Yeah.
So, is the Hire Africa, is it like an agency model? So they're sourcing the staff for us, or I guess I want to understand, and maybe it's because I missed the beginning, I didn't hear that part, but I just want to understand kind of like the way that we would work with Hire Africa in identifying employees.
Yeah, so you're putting forth the types of resources that you need, the types of professionals and skills and so on that you're looking for, and they are looking for that talent on the continent.
Okay.
And let me see if I could bring up the web page. But yes, so we almost work together in that sense in trying to find because you want to be, from your end, as specific as possible so that they can do the same thing on the other end in terms of how they ask questions and look at credentials. So you want to know, again, it could be like maybe just for a small project just to begin, you want person to do X thing, create a brochure, electronic brochure for you, something like that. And so that way, when they go out to talk to people, they're making that direct match. If you leave it so it works back both ways. And you can also ask for, if you need some kind of, like, talking again about security and so on. Let's say that you wanted somebody to work in your accounting or your finances, so you want to know what is the credential in that country to vet somebody who works in financial systems, and so you're looking for somebody who would have those kind of credentials.
Okay, can I add on?
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so this is in response to the first question regarding security. So we are working with, we definitely identified this before we got into the stage of actually launching fully and having people sign up. We had done the pilot stage where we asked questions. We had some of our members also, raise concerns regarding things like this. So first is, the systems they are going to be working on is based in the US. So there's a cloud system based in the US that they work from. They do not work from their personal, they work from their personal computers, but not necessarily their personal computers. It's hosted in the system for the sake of security. So you don't have to worry about the security piece of that one. And then secondly, the financing, you don't completely have to worry about the financing. So we work directly with Remutin.work. The Hire Africa campaign also falls under Remutin.work's scope of work. And on that, their system, they are a US company, so they control the financing. So you don't have to worry about it, because we realized that one of the biggest issues is the international transactions could be problematic, and you don't want to involve yourself in the mix of that. So you are not directly making any payments to the person to the person you're working with, in this case, the talent. You're directly working with remoting.work, who is involved with Hire Africa themselves.
It
So
is
you
funny.
don't have to worry about
It's
financing,
earlier.
to worry about the financing piece either. The third thing that you might want to note is
If
they are working.
I took, then I sneezed.
There's someone
And
else.
the pepper went through.
Somebody is. I'm trying to see who's got their phone. Okay, make sure you mute your phone, please, or mute your microphone, please.
Thank you. Yeah, and then the next thing is they work from an accredited center. So we have centers in specifically Lagos, in Nigeria, Abuja, Nigeria. Then we have in centers in Ghana, we have in South Africa, majorly in Kenya. So across these regions, we have centers, and we're still trying to open centers across the different countries in the continent. So they don't even work from home; they work from accredited centers. So it's not technically working from home. That's also a way to improve on the security. And of course, like we mentioned, and like he's mentioned, they are pre-vetted. They are pre-vetted by remoting.work. And one thing you might want to notice, your first month of working, of having them work for you, is pretty much free. So they're going to work for you for 1 month on a scholarship, so you don't have to worry about paying for that period, and they cover the company covers the cost of that, just to make sure that you see this person, you understand this person. So they will pre-vet, they will interview. We are directly involved, of course, as Black and Global, because your interest is our priority. And when we are done with this process, they interview as many as 5 people and present these 5 people to you. You listen to all 5 of them and choose from maybe the pool that you have, your preference, and you work with this person. And in a case where you don't think this person is compatible with your company, you can get someone else work for you, still on the same cost that you would have paid for. And you don't pay the person directly, you pay to the company, and the company does the disbursement by themselves. So I just wanted to add that for everything Case said.
Yes, thank you, Miracle. I appreciate that. The details, which are so critical. That's very helpful. I hope that was helpful for everyone. Yeah, does that answer the questions? Okay. What any other questions? Has anyone reached out to do business in Africa or worked with African professionals or other businesses at this point?
I have.
Do you want to talk about the experience of it?
Sure. It's something I have. So I have an IT service company here in the US. And so actually what I did initially to even get started is I actually started bringing on board a lot of African Americans who didn't know how to really break into the tech business. And helping them to really just utilize my leverage and the relationships that I had to build teams. And so through COVID, what I ended up doing during that time was reaching out to some people in actually different countries. I had Jamaica, I had also West Africa. My family is actually from the Gambia. And so one of the biggest challenges I saw there was that I couldn't find people who had talents, right? They didn't have the skill set, even though I had opportunities for them. And so it was even hard to figure out how to start training, them, because they didn't have access to like computers, to the internet. And so I actually went there to kind of scout, to actually like, I'm just excited about this organization, right? Because it's like, this is the idea. I was like, this is what Africa needs. Like, oh my gosh. And so, going there and seeing like, okay, what is it that we could do? And even how businesses could support this type of initiative is so important, because there's so many people like that are available. They want to work. They are capable of doing the work, but they just don't have access. And like, even for me, I'm sitting up here. I'm just gonna show y'all really quickly. Like I
Yes.
have literally, like, sometimes I take equipment out of companies. I don't know if I know my green screen is up. But
Okay,
this
well,
is
describe it for us, because it looks like
this is a router. or
Oh,
sorry,
it's a router. Okay.
yes, a switch. So anyway, I have like plenty of these 48 port switches, and I'm like in computers, I'm like trying to stock up and like sitting over there to try to open an office. And so of course it still takes support from everybody to be able to do that. So when Miracle was just saying like opening like up satellite offices and stuff like that, I would love to help to do the next one in Gambia whenever you guys are interested in that region or whatever. But even just the support, and even as a small business, if there's something we can do to help with the training, like
Mhm.
I don't know if you all have that in the plans, but that's the part that I saw was a big struggle. And just I know the initial question was what was my experience working? And so my experience was uh, a little slower than I would have liked, just to be honest. And that's just because you have to teach, or you have to be able to have SOPs within your own business,
Okay.
that are even somewhat slightly tailored a little different, just because it's a different community and a different, in a way, a mindset too. So you have to kind of tailor things and slow down. And so what I ended up doing was bringing
I
them
was found. I'm on this webinar.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
I ended up
Shirley,
bringing
please
them.
mute your mic. Thank you.
I brought them into Zoom spaces like this, and I would just like teach them, or actually have them watch me do some of the tasks that I wanted them to do. And then with them seeing, exactly like what I really wanted, it helped them to really learn. And so every time I had that opportunity, I would just like, hey, jump on my Zoom, or I'm meeting with a client and this is what we're going to be working on, before I even gave them specific tasks to do. So those are like some of the little tips that like work for me. And I still still have this team of people, whenever I need them, I just started finding out who was good at what, everybody was able to pick up on little things that, different from another person. So even though you might have one person you thought they were good at this, but then you might see that they're good at something else, you shift them and put them in that correct, role. So those are the little tips that I learned along the way.
Wow, that's fantastic. It's Samira, did I say that right?
It's Sane.
Sane.
Yes.
Okay, Sane, thank you so much. That
Yeah.
is incredible insight. I'm curious about, oh, actually, I'll let anyone else have questions for Sane. So I wanted to just ask, okay, I'll start off. I wanted to ask about, you were talking about just getting started. So can you go into that a bit more? What is, when you first arrive in a country, and what were some of the lessons that you learned just from the first meeting, from that first, like, or even before you leave to go somewhere and meet people? What do you think, wish you had learned, or what you wish you knew before that very first meet time that you went,
What do I wish I would have learned?
or known ahead of time?
Oh, I honestly, I went there just with open mind.
Okay.
So I didn't really expect to not know anything. I went there like a sponge. Like I don't know anything. And I wanted to grasp on, because like when we are trying to especially work around the world, one of the biggest things is understanding the cultures, right? And the things that are most important to people. Because if we can help to frame something around what their comfort levels are, or maybe what their priorities or their customs are, it helps to create this dynamic relationship that's where you understand each other. So if I know that there is, like, in certain countries, like such as Gambia, which is a Muslim based, a country, then I know that every Friday it's like mostly businesses shut down and they're going to the mosque. So understanding even in your business, I know I'm gonna only work with this person that works, that's from that country from Monday to Thursday, and Fridays they're not available. Like, to implement those type of things, that's just on a level of respect that a lot of people don't understand. And I know it's hard because business sometimes is 24/7, and I get that. But when we understand people, we have a more a true global business that can sustain a lot of things. And then you have to know how to adjust your business. So you say, okay, well, this person is only available Monday to Thursday. Maybe you have a temporary person or a part-time person that only comes in on Fridays, you know, and that, you know, can work it. So those are the things, like, that's just how I think, that I think that will work for a lot of people to understand that. And so if someone comes in there so strict where your only knowledge is how US works, right? Then you're going to be disappointed, right? In the end, because you don't understand and you're not really willing to understand people. Even sometimes the in the middle of the day how they break, for lunch. Like even today I was traveling, I'm in Georgia. I was traveling and sometimes I like Indian food. But if I noticed in America, almost all of the restaurants close between a few hours. I never asked them why. I'm thinking maybe it's a cultural thing where they take a break and maybe they honor their families and they come together. Whatever the reason is, they take a break and they honor that, even in our country. So we have to be able to understand too our brothers and sisters in different countries and to know what each country, different customs are and how to implement that.
Yeah,
That's my only
absolutely.
suggestion.
Yes, thank you. That's really, yeah, that's great insight. And I really like, as you say, keep an open mind. When you are, so as I was saying in the beginning, you're growing your business and you're thinking about where can I find more resources? Where can I find more talented people? Where can I find knowledge? What we want to do is have something in your brain go off and go, oh yeah, what was that thing about hiring Africans? Because right now you might be thinking, oh, I'll just go on Fiverr and see if I can find somebody, or Upwork, or I'll ask a friend, or maybe call somebody at work who might know somebody, that kind of thing. But now there's another process that you can think about. And if it's brand new and it's something you haven't done it before and so on, but keeping an open mind, it might be an opportunity to say, okay, let me try this. And now, again, start with a small project, start to talk to some people and see if there is talent out there that would work with you and help you expand your business. So, yes, thank you.
I recently started a YouTube channel, and I hired an African through Fiverr. Had an excellent experience. So they are very intelligent. And of course, it's like with anyone else, people have different personalities, so you have to get somebody that's going to be dependable, but they were very dependable. I was pleased with their work. They have very good work ethics. And so it was just a wonderful experience. So
that's fabulous. Could you talk a bit more about how you found that person then? Was it something on their profile that you thought, okay, I'm going to give them a try, or what was the thing that made you select that person in the first place?
Initially I had talked with someone else, but it didn't work out. Let's just say it didn't work out. And what made me select that person was that they were willing to come on Zoom and talk to me. And I tell them, I said, if you had not been willing to meet with me on Zoom, then chances are I would have kept going until I got someone else. And actually, that's how come it didn't work with the first person, because they were not willing to come on Zoom. I'm a visual type person, but I have to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And as excellent as the person is, had they not been willing to meet with me on Zoom, chances are I would have kept going till I found somebody. So that was it.
And that's a great tip as well, because that gives you a level of comfort. It's part of the vetting. Is that a real person or is it a bot?
It was. I needed that level of comfortability. And then I knew that usually when I'm doing business, especially, I want to feel that it's something you can't really put your finger on, but you know it when you see it. And I like building relationships with people.
Okay.
And so I really felt like whoever built my channel, I was supposed to have a certain dynamic. And I was right about it, because what I wanted, I got more than what I wanted out of it. So I highly recommend through that one experience. I highly recommend the Africans.
Which country? Do you know what
This one, Nigeria.
Nigeria, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, Miracle and I agree. Good choice.
A whole nother story with that, but yeah. Love the Nigerians.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That's awesome. And now, anyone else? Any other questions or experiences you'd like to share? Well, we have a few more minutes.
Case, now y'all can look for me on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Check
Go
out
ahead.
my channel on YouTube.
Put a plug in. What's it called?
This is my name.
Okay. And what are you doing on there?
It's a spiritual channel. It's a
Okay.
Christian-based channel. So whatever God leads me to say, that's what I say.
All right. Sounds good. Excellent. All right. Congratulations on getting it set up then.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, Shirley.
This is Shirley. I just got introduced to this opportunity, and you can tell me if this would work or not. It's all over the world, and the people. I will have to get hire somebody. I may have to give them the $50 to get their position, and they will ask, I think, 5 more people, and it's a product. It's called the People's Network, and the CEO is Mr. Bob Wood, worked with Microsoft, and the product is it's a digital, so it's not pyramid. And I would love. Unfortunately, I have seen the sad parts. They show on TV for Africa, and I want to help so many, get some money, because the way you, in fact, when I paid my $50, they give it back to you, and you don't find many companies they keep 10% of the money to run the company. So you can make. I think he said I called my mentor to see if they were in Africa, and he said yes, cause they do with crypto and everything, and they just got the visa with PayQuicker that just came up, and I would just need somebody to uh, they can do it at home. I present the job to different ones to make, and they would keep the money. They wouldn't send it to me. And you call people, and it's digital and educational, and you can make up to it'd be residual $9,000 in 45 days, because you would get it's a five level. So I don't know if I would be able to do that with y'all.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, go ahead. You can put your information in the chat, and anybody who's interested can reach out and speak to you directly.
What they do, we do 5 webinars. Because
Okay.
the only thing we have to do is invite, and you decide. We don't push.
Okay.
Everything. So
thank you.
They will look at the webinars, because they do the teaching Monday and Wednesday and Saturday at 12.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, do any other questions or about working with African talent or doing business in Africa?
I do have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
So I may have missed this earlier. How are you all reaching out to, I guess, find the talent? And then where what platforms do you have set up to really I guess promote that this is happening, and even for the training aspect?
Yeah, so I think first of all, I think there's a web page. Actually, Miracle, would you mind putting the link to the Hire Africa partnership page in the chat, please?
Yes, 1 minute.
Okay, and then Black and Global in general, the Black and Global Business Network is everywhere on social media. So you'll find, just look for Black and Global Business Network on all the social channels, and that's where, follow us to keep up on all the different things that we're doing, and you'll see more promotions about Hire Africa, other webinars that are coming up, and other information as well.
Okay, because I'm on TikTok, and I have a large following of people from Africa, so I would love to be able to share how they could get involved. So
Great, thank you. And yes, there is the well, that's Black and Global. Actually, Black and Global link, and then but there's a link for the Hire Africa page as well, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that one just so specifically for the partnership with Hire Africa.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we still go just 1 hour, right, Miracle? I know we started a little late, so I'll let it run a little longer if there are any other questions.
1 minute. Let me send.
Oh, yeah. So let's put that link.
Yeah. Okay. Cheryl. Okay, so the link I just sent is the link to the registration platform. So this is so you could have an idea of how the registration process works.
Mm-hmm.
So when you register, we have access to your back end, and we're able to see and follow up with you. You can book a demo. You could see the platform. There's an entire platform designed for that. And now I'm going to share the link to the website. Or better still, I think I know what we could do instead. We have the blueprint, which was part of the presentation. We just didn't get there. So I'm going to share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
You can scan the QR code. A minute, I'm not sure. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen, and so there should be a QR code coming up. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just going to present in full, so you can scan the QR code, and you would get a platform to fill up your details. When you do, you get a blueprint. The blueprint has the detail of every single thing that you need to know about Hire Africa, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and of course, you can reach out to us anytime. The email to reach out to is for us at blackandglobalbusinessnetwork.com.
Mm-hmm. So it's the number 4 US at Black and Global. Yeah, and I think that's in the chat as well. So it's the Black and Global website, the sign-up page for the Hire Africa program, the email address, the 4us at blackandglobalbusinessnetwork.com. And then on the screen is the QR code. So just use your phone to scan that QR code, and that will take you to all the information about Hire Africa and Black and Global and the Black and Global campaign.
100%. And remember, you can have an access to a grant, a scholarship, whatever you want to call it, at least for the first month. That you'd be working with anybody that you decide to try out or work with.
Okay. Thank you for putting that all up there, Bang and Miracle. So hopefully everybody was managed to copy those links and scan the QR code.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So any other questions? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great opportunity to see everyone again. And, yes. On behalf of Black and Global and Black and Global Business Network, we're always here to help you, support you with your global business and growing your business. So thank you very much for attending, and we'll see you all again next month. All right. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. And if you want to be part of our webinar next time as the speaker, feel free to reach out to us as well. And if you want to be part of our podcast series as well, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will get you on board as soon as possible.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miracle and Bang. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.